Every generation has had its counterculture. Whether it's the flappers in 1920, beatniks in the 50s, hippies in the 60s, or let's players in the 10s. These are people who have rejected societal norms and forged a path towards becoming mainstream in the following decades, taking the lubed up Play-Doh snake of pop culture and holding firm yet gentle between their hands, molding it into an image that has had universally agreed upon cool-ass vibes. So when we look at something like emo as subculture that's been around since the mid-80s, it's interesting to see the subgenres it spawned and the impact those have had on the mainstream, even going so far as being a countercultural movement for a short period of time. When I think of emo, the first thing that comes into my mind is pretty bleak. You've got your saddies, your lonelies, your fuck you, you're not my real dad vibes, your pessimism-me's, etc., etc. So what was the response to that? What could take these tried and true emo tropes and totally transform them into the exact opposite, all while maintaining the emo spirit? The answer is scene kids. Tell your stepdad to fuck off, cause this is a cultural overview, baby.
If he says he's got beef, that I'm a vegetarian and I ain't fucking scared of him.
First things first, we need to start talking about the music. That's like the most important part of this whole equation. Art is to culture as peanut butter is to jelly and bread. Very important. You can't have a jelly sandwich, but you can have like a peanut butter sandwich. Unless you're like a freak. Unanimously, all the people I've talked to in this whole research phase that I did agreed that music is an extremely important part of this equation. You can just be a regular Scott the Woz looking dude from Ohio, but if you listen to the music, you're essentially in tune with scene culture as much as anyone else is. You just don't want to dress the way they do, which is fine. Not gonna yuck yums. Everyone should do what they feel comfortable doing. Now it is time to name a shit ton of scene artists, and you tell me that I'm missing one. So, here we go. Black Veil Brides, My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, Blood on the Dance Floor, Blood on the Dance Floor, Panic at the Disco, Cobra Starship, 303, 1 second. Did I already say My Chemical Romance? Okay. Paramore, Millionaires, Sleeping with Sirens, Jeffree Star. All of these people are scene musicians, or emo in a greater sense, but they're scene. If you took the entirety of Warped Tour and gave it a MySpace profile, it would be these people. While these bands did cover melodramatic topics that were a little more serious than regular pop music that was mainstream at the time, they did do it with a youthful exuberance that really resonates with youthful people who are exuberant. It's like any young, new subculture. If it's loud and it's against the norm and they're confident, you're gonna like it. An easy archetype to fall back on with this kind of music is that raw, I'm the Joker, I'm random, I'm crazy, lol, tee-hee type shit. But a lot of it is genuinely good and still really holds up, as long as you let go of your preconceived notions of like cringe or embarrassing stuff. Give things a chance. You'll find stuff that you like, I guarantee it. Since we're on the topic of music, and I mentioned Warped Tour earlier, it's really important to talk about that. That is like essential. Warped Tour is super, super important. I cannot stress how important Warped Tour was, and maybe is. It was canceled back in 2019, and I don't know if they're gonna keep it coming anymore. There's rumors that there is from what I've looked up, but I don't know enough to confirm that. So let me know if Warped Tour is coming back. I would really like to go when it's safe. That would be fun. Warped Tour was where a young chick scene kid went to become a fully grown chicken scene person. It was a traveling tour that went across the country, and they would stop at different cities like a tour does, and have local bands, bigger bands like the aforementioned Paramore, My Chemical Romance, etc. Even Katy Perry. Katy Perry was at a Warped Tour. I found that out. I don't really know what to do with that information. Wig, as Katy Perry would say. Although it originally started as a tour just for punk music, it quickly evolved into covering third wave ska, pop punk, metalcore, crunkcore, which is like a type of scene music, and everything that you can think of that is dyed hair, straight hair. As I'm sure is obvious from the subject matter of my past nostalgia type videos, I was not the type of person to go to Warped Tour. But I knew a lot of people who did, and I've seen a lot of kids back in the day who wore Warped Tour shirts. So it was kind of like this mecca for your people, you know? It's like a Civil War reenactment for people who like that. But instead of a Civil War, it is mud and singing and fighting the power, which is kind of like the Civil War. So obviously there was plenty of music to go around, but if you were, like I said, just a regular looking dude, how did you recognize other people of your tribe if you didn't want to talk to them about music? What was their outside, external look like? Well, have I got a surprise for you? Passion. As you can see, I've done extensive historical research and spent no less than $70 on a completely accurate scene outfit to the best of my ability and knowledge. If I am wrong, please let me know, because I will be extremely embarrassed that I did this to myself. One of, if not the most important things about establishing a foothold in the mainstream eye as a culture or counterculture is a unified look or style between members of your group. You can see in any decade of the 20th century, whether it's the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, or the 90s, that there's a look and there's a counter look. And all of those things are remembered. But being emo, especially as a person of color, was really difficult. You would have to straighten your hair if it wasn't straight to get those bangs, spend a lot of money on Hot Topic shit that you're not going to wear in 2 years just to fit in, possibly get piercings, wear silly bands maybe depending on the year it was, but it came with a lot, and if you were a person of color, it came with a lot of grief too from your family, your friends, other people in your circle, that you weren't fitting in with the norm. Either way, you're going to be made fun of, but there's just that extra layer of like, what the fuck, dude? That comes with that. And it wasn't cool. I wasn't a part of that, but my heart and empathy go out to the people that were and the accounts I've read on the internet. But being seen, on top of being emo, required an entirely different approach to things. On top of straightening your hair, you had to tease the shit out of it and dye it. You had to wear a lot of bright colors and cartoon characters like Invader Zim and shit. It was just a whole nother ballgame. Being seen was being emo but loud. Loud and colorful and bright and crazy with a heart of gold. Rawr, I'll cut you up, but I'm also a dinosaur crazy taco cat. It was like that. You had to be LOLXD random. It wasn't for the faint of heart. There was a certain unity in dressing and acting a certain way that comes with anything universally, but especially with this. You were shunned and made fun of by just about everyone, and your only solace was people like you. But if you were in a small town in buttfuck Oklahoma with you and 10 other people named Bill, where would you find people like you? This is where we turn to another extremely important aspect of scene culture, something that was completely different from anything else before it. This is where we turn to the internet.
Take me to your Xbox, interwebs.
2007 to 2012. This would be about the time that our hot pink, overly teased hair lads and ladies would be considered in their prime. If you haven't noticed, that is also the rise and fall of MySpace and the beginning of YouTube culture really blowing up and cracking out of its basilisk egg into the disgusting chicken snake lion hybrid that we know it as today. By all accounts, MySpace kind of seemed like the place to be for little scene kids. It was a really great way to get across who you were in an online setting that was obviously way more advanced than an AOL chat room or a forum. You could really decorate your own homepage, set a song to play when you enter, and like have your best friends listed. It was very robust for the time. With the dawn of MySpace, now XX Sephiroth Strife XX wasn't just a forum signature like I said, it was a real person. with likes and dislikes and someone that you could strive to form a parasocial relationship with. Scene culture was one of the first social media driven archetypes and subcultures, and we can really see how that influences subcultures today in the sense that it's just a place to be. That's the internet. We love the internet. Hell yeah. This is where you could go to see the scene kings and queens that looked like this or this, and you could be like, yes, I want to look like that. Mom, buy me that. And then your parents would not do that, or they would if they were cool parents. While I'm seriously downplaying it while I'm talking about it, the rise of YouTube was an important paradigm shift for almost every type of media, and just consuming media in general, creating it. It gave it to the masses. And those masses just happen to be the people we're talking about in this video. Random LOL XD kids who made epic trollface memes, Charlie the Unicorns, Boxy, Salad Fingers. All of these people came together on one platform to share their thoughts and views with no money or any incentive like that besides just the fun. It really was kind of the Wild West in a sense. MySpace isn't around anymore. Tumblr could have been the next thing, but we look and saw what happened to that. Ooh. So TikTok is where it's at. YouTube is still around. I don't really have enough to say about modern YouTube that hasn't already been said, and smarter people that are more invested in this have said. But what is scene culture like today? Is it still around? Has it diffused into other things? Let's find out.
Scene today.
Stop for a moment. Take a deep breath. Click out of this video, but please come back. But click out of this video. Go on Twitter, go on TikTok, go on maybe Instagram, I don't know. Look at what's popular, the new cultures, what they take, what they borrow. And notice that like snowflakes and little particles all around you, atoms, matter, photons. Scene culture is everywhere. It's diffused into everything. E-girls, e-boys, tell me you don't see the same thing. It's like, it's one and the same. From modern hyperpop embracing the Y2K stank screamy sound like 100 gecs and Charlie XCX, to alt-rap like Echo 2K, Blade, Young Lean, all these people take these like scene influences and put them into their art. You can't look me dead in the eye and tell me that Lil Uzi Vert would be the way he is without scene culture. That man is just a scene rapper. A lot of other things too, but he's definitely got scene influence. And there are people trying to bring back scene into the roaring 20s, at least from what I've seen on the scene internet. Scene. And scene. Being obnoxious or sad on main is a universal thing, and it's something that will never really go away. Scene culture is all around us, it's incredibly important, and if you look back on it, you might be able to spot the next upcoming trend. Maybe people will bring back super teased hair. I don't know. But I'm gonna call it right now. If teased hair comes back in the early 2020s, I will make a 10-second video saying I told you so. I don't know. You guys will know. We're kind of small out here. But yes. So, that is the state of scene today. Culture will always bend and sway with the whims of each generation, while like clockwork, a group of folks will look at it and say, nor. That rebellious spirit is what leads to real cultural changes, and not the artificial ones determined by those in power or manufactured by the media. The world is a fuck. We're living in the hell timeline, and trash people litter the halls of our decision-making slabs of granite and marble. At this point, even the term counterculture is being co-opted by whoever wants it. But unless you're really going against an actual norm, what are you fucking doing? Is being as normal and traditional as possible really counterculture, or are you co-opting it to make yourself feel like you're rebelling against something? I mean, at the end of the day, don't yuck anyone else's yums, let people do what they want if it isn't hurting anybody or pushing something harmful, and realize that I guess no single person controls where art, fashion, or music can really end up going. So all we can do as individuals is grab our lifestyle by its two nuts and ask yourself, am I happy with the way I look, the art I consume, anything? Is there any way that I can make myself happier? And just fucking do it. And if you really mean it, you know, you'll be happier. People will notice, and if you're onto something, they'll follow. But that's kind of the point of the video, so it's over now. This is the credits time. Thank you so much for watching again, always, and forever. Love, heart emoji. Leave a comment if you were a scene kid. You know, you're important. Your voice should be heard. You know, I spent the most money on this video than I have on literally any other video I've ever made, which isn't saying much, but it's still like, ugh. You look at it and it's like the longest video too, and I'm just like, oh fuck, dude. Oh fuck, I hope this goes well. But I had a shit ton of fun, so I guess it doesn't matter in the end. You gotta keep telling yourself that. But, you know what? I'll see you in the next one. Thinking it's about Toonami or Toontown. I don't know yet, one of the tunes. If you're this far and you're still listening, leave a comment on which one you want it to be. Thank you, love you, bye.